Part 1. Cultural collision. The metal door exploded inward with a sharp bang. Commander Sarah Chen rolled through the smoke, her rifle ready and eyes scanning for targets. The mission was simple: break into the enemy command center and steal their battle plans. What she found instead made her freeze mid-step. A tall, elegant figure stood in the center of the room, completely naked and glowing with soft blue light. The alien woman had pale silver skin that seemed to shift and shimmer like water. Her large eyes went wide with shock when she saw Sarah. She had been in the middle of some kind of ritual, standing over a pool of strange liquid that bubbled and steamed. "Oh," Sarah said, lowering her weapon slightly. "Sorry about that." Alien princess, because everything about her screamed royalty, stared at Sarah in complete terror. Not the kind of fear someone has when facing a gun. This was something much deeper. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Sarah looked around the room. It was clearly private quarters, not a command center. Soft fabrics hung from the walls. Strange instruments played quiet music. The air smelled like flowers and ozone. She had definitely made a mistake. "Look, I'll just leave," Sarah said, starting to back toward the door. "Pretend this never happened." "You can see me," the alien woman whispered. Her voice was like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Sarah stopped. "Well, yeah, you're right there." The princess took a shaky step backward. "Impossible. No one can see me during the sacred molting. The barrier should hide me from all eyes." Sarah looked around again. She didn't see any barrier, just a naked alien woman who seemed very upset about being seen. Being a professional soldier, Sarah did what made sense. She shrugged off her tactical jacket and held it out. "Here, cover yourself with this." The princess stared at the jacket like it might explode. You offer me clothing? You're naked and upset about it?" Seemed like the obvious thing to do. For a long moment, neither of them moved, and the princess slowly reached out and took the jacket. She wrapped it around herself, never taking her eyes off Sarah's face. "What are you?" she asked. "Human." "Commander Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force. And you are?" "I am Princess Vexalia of the Zephyrian Empire." She pulled the jacket tighter. "And you have just done something that should be impossible." Sarah was starting to get confused. "What exactly did I do? Besides break down your door, I mean." Princess moved closer, studying Sarah's face. "You can see my true form. During the molting ritual, my people become invisible to all other species. It is our greatest gift and our most sacred time. Yet you look at me as if I am simply ... there, because you are simply there." Princess Vexalia shook her head. "For 300 years, my people have used this gift to move unseen among the stars. We can walk through enemy fleets without being detected. We can enter any world and remain hidden. It has made us the most powerful empire in this galaxy." Sarah was starting to understand why this was a big deal. An invisible alien race would be nearly impossible to fight. So when you attack someone, they can't see you coming? Exactly. And now, I find a human who can see through our greatest power. The princess looked scared and amazed at the same time. There are legends about this, stories of the Voidwalker who would see past all illusions. Before Sarah could ask what a Voidwalker was, alarms started blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed on the walls. The princess's face went pale. "The guards know someone is here," she said. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Sarah could hear alien voices shouting in a language she didn't understand. They sounded angry and getting closer. "Is there another way out?" Sarah asked, checking her rifle. "No, this is my private chamber. There is only one entrance." The princess looked at the door with fear. "When they find you here with me like this, they will think you tried to kill me." "Did I try to kill you?" "No, but they will not believe that finding someone in a princess's chamber during molting it means either worship or assassination. There is no middle ground in our culture," Sarah sighed. "Great. So I'm about to be arrested for seeing you naked. It is more serious than that. The penalty for witnessing a royal molting without permission is death. Unless..." The princess paused, looking at Sarah with new interest. "Less what?" unless you are the prophesied Voidwalker. If that is true, then by ancient law, I am bound to serve whoever can see my true form during the sacred time. The footsteps were almost at the door now. Zara could hear the guards preparing to break it down. Serve me however you command, until the debt is repaid. Sarah stared at her. You mean like a slave? Or like a sworn guardian? It is complicated. The door shook as something heavy hit it from outside. The guards were trying to break in. Princess Vexalia, a deep voice shouted from the corridor. Are you harmed? We detected an intruder. The princess looked at Sarah, then at the shaking door. I must decide quickly. Do I call for help and watch you die? Or do I accept that fate has brought the Voidwalker to me? Sarah moved to the side of the door, rifle ready. Whatever you decide fast. The princess closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, she looked determined. I choose to believe in the old stories. The door exploded inward. 4 tall alien warriors in silver armor rushed into the room. They moved fast, but not faster than Sarah's training. She dove behind a piece of furniture as energy blasts filled the air where she had been standing. Stop! Princess Vexalia shouted. Do not harm her. The guards froze, confused. You could see their princess wearing a strange jacket and standing near a human soldier. It made no sense to them. Princess, step away from the assassin, the lead guard said. She is not an assassin. She is the Voidwalker. The guards looked at each other. One of them laughed. Princess, there is no one else here. The intruder must be hiding. That's when Sarah realized the truth. The guards couldn't see her either. To them, she was invisible too, just like the princess had been to everyone else. But somehow, she and the princess could see each other perfectly. This was going to be more complicated than she thought. Part 2. The sight beyond sight. The guards searched the room with growing confusion. Moved right past Sarah, their weapons scanning empty air. She stood perfectly still, hardly breathing, as one guard walked so close she could smell his alien. There is no one here, princess, the lead guard said. Armor was covered in glowing symbols that seemed to shift and move. Our sensors detected an explosion, but we find only you. Princess Vexalia stayed calm. Perhaps the sensors made an error. You know how sensitive they are during molting season. The guard looked suspicious. Princess, why are you wearing that strange garment? Sarah watched the princess think quickly. It is ... a new meditation cloth from the outer worlds. It helps focus the mind during the ritual. The guards accepted this explanation, though they still seemed confused. After searching the room one more time, they left. The door sealed behind them with a soft hiss. As soon as they were gone, Princess Vexalia collapsed into a chair. Her hands were shaking. That was close, Sarah said, coming out from behind the furniture. The princess jumped, even though she had just saved Sarah's life. She still seemed shocked each time she saw her. I need to understand what you are, the princess said. Sit down. We must talk. Sarah sat across from her, keeping her rifle within reach. You said something about a Voidwalker. What does that mean? The princess took a deep breath. Long ago. Before my people learned to use our invisibility gift, we were weak. Other races pushed us around. We were slaves and servants to anyone with stronger weapons. Sarah nodded. I understand. When humans have been there too, then we discovered our ability to become unseen. At first, it only worked on our home world. But as we grew stronger, the gift became more powerful. Soon we could hide from any species in the galaxy. The princess's eyes grew distant. It made us mighty. We could attack anyone without being seen. We could steal their secrets, destroy their fleets, take their worlds. And no one could fight back because they couldn't see you coming. Exactly. For 3 centuries, we have been unstoppable. Our ancient stories tell of one who would see past all veils. The Voidwalker, who would look into the spaces between worlds and see truth itself. Sarah frowned. You think I'm this? Voidwalker. The signs are clear. You can see me during sacred molting. You remain invisible to my people while talking to me. These things should not be possible. Before Sarah could respond, her communication device crackled to life. Morrison's voice came through, full of static and urgency. Chen, where are you? We've got a massive problem here. Sarah activated her transmitter. I'm still on the enemy ship, sir. What's happening? Look out the nearest window. Now, move to a large viewing port on the far wall. What she saw made her blood turn cold. Hundreds of massive ships floated in space around Earth's moon. They were beautiful and terrible, with curved hulls that seemed to bend light around them. How many ships? She asked. Our sensors count over 300 dreadnoughts, Morrison said. They appeared out of nowhere 20 minutes ago. Sarah, they're not showing up on any of our targeting systems. We can't lock weapons on them. Sarah looked at Princess Vexalia, who had gone very pale. They're invisible to your sensors, Sarah said. But I can see them perfectly. The princess stood up quickly. That fleet was not supposed to reveal itself yet. Something has gone wrong. Jen, are you getting intel over there? Morrison's voice was tight with stress. Sir, I think I understand what's happening. The aliens can turn invisible. It's how they've been hitting our colonies without us seeing them coming. Silence on the radio. Then Morrison swore loudly. Princess Sarah said, why is that fleet? Here now. Princess Vexalia moved to a control panel and pressed several buttons. A holographic display appeared showing the fleet formation. This was supposed to be a hidden attack. The plan was to remain invisible until Earth's defenses were down, then destroy your world completely. Sarah's grip tightened on her weapon. You're here to wipe us out, not me, the princess said quickly. My brother, Prince Kethfer, leads. This attack, I did not know it would happen so soon. The radio crackled again. Chen, whatever intel you're gathering, we need it fast. Earth's defense fleet is moving to intercept, but we can't fight what we can't see. Sarah looked at the princess. Can you help us? Princess Vexalia was quiet for a long moment. If I help you, I will be a traitor to my own people. If you don't help, my people die. Your people attacked our scouting ships first because you were invisible. We couldn't tell if you were hostile or not. We had to assume the worst. Princess walked to the window and stared at the fleet. Prince Kethfer believes humans are too dangerous to live. He says your people adapt too quickly, learn too fast. He fears that if we do not destroy you now, you will find ways to fight our invisibility. Sarah joined her at the window. Looks like we already have. Yes, the Voidwalker has appeared, just as the story said.
Odd.
The princess turned to face. Sarah, in our legends, the Voidwalker appears when the Zephyrian Empire faces its greatest test. Some stories say they come to destroy us. Others say they come to save us from ourselves. Which story do you believe? The princess smiled sadly. I believe the stories that say the Voidwalker shows us who we really are. And right now, seeing my brother's fleet preparing to murder billions of innocents, I do not like what I see. Sarah's radio buzzed with urgent chatter. The Earth fleet was moving into position. The battle would start soon. Princess, I need your help. Not just for my people, but for yours too. If this attack succeeds, humans will never trust Zephyrians again. There will be endless war. And if I help you stop it, maybe we can find a better way. Maybe both our people can survive this. Princess Vexalia closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were filled with determination. The Voidwalker has spoken, she said. I will help you. But first, you must understand what we face. My brother has positioned his fleet perfectly. Earth's ships will be destroyed before they know what hit them, unless someone can see the invisible ships and guide our weapons. Exactly. But getting that information to your fleet will not be easy. My brother will not hesitate to kill me if he discovers what I am doing. Sarah checked her weapons and equipment. Then we better not let him find out. The princess moved to another control panel. I can access the tactical systems from here. But Sarah, you should know once we do this, there will be no going back. My people will hunt us both, then we better make sure we succeed. Outside the window, the invisible fleet began to move toward Earth. Part 3. Alliance of Necessity. Princess Vexalia's fingers flew across the control panel. Lines of alien text scrolled down the screen as she accessed the fleet's tactical systems. I'm downloading the attack plans, she said. Your people have 47 minutes before the strike begins. Sarah spoke into her radio. Morrison, are you there? I'm here, Chen. Please tell me you have good news. Sir, I have the enemy battle plans. I need you to patch me through to Admiral Hayes right now. Chen Hayes is busy preparing for Sir. I can see their ships. I'm the only human who can see them. Connect me to Hayes or Earth dies in 47 minutes. Static filled the channel. For several seconds, then a new voice came through, calm and authoritative. Commander Chen, this is Admiral Hayes. Explain the situation. Sarah looked at the tactical display Princess Vexalia had activated. Hundreds of red dots showed enemy positions around Earth's moon. Admiral, the enemy can turn completely invisible. That's why our sensors can't find them. But I can see them somehow. I'm looking at their entire fleet right now. How many ships? 312 dreadnoughts, sir. They're arranged in a sphere around Luna. The attack starts in 46 minutes. Admiral Hayes was quiet for a moment. Chen, that's impossible. Our best sensors show empty space. Sir, trust me on this. I'm transmitting coordinates now. Vexalia had connected her system to Sarah's communication device. Data flowed from the Zephyrian tactical computers to Earth's defense network. Admiral, are you receiving the coordinates? We're getting something. Strange readings that don't match any known ship signatures. Those are the invisible ships, sir. Which coordinate I'm sending is an enemy dreadnought. On the tactical display, Sarah watched Earth's defense fleet moving into position. Compared to the Zephyrian force, the human ships looked tiny and outnumbered. Chen, even if what you're telling me is true, we're facing impossible odds. 300 ships against our 60. Sarah looked at Princess Vexalia. Princess, is there a weakness we can exploit? The princess pointed to several ships at the center of the formation. Those are command vessels. If you can destroy the flagship, it will disrupt their coordination for several minutes. Which one is the flagship? Princess Vexalia highlighted. A massive ship that dwarfed all the others. That one. My brother Prince Kethfer commands from there. Sarah relayed the information to Admiral Hayes. Sir, target the largest ship at coordinates I'm sending now. It's their command vessel. Chen, I'm looking at those coordinates. There's nothing there, sir. You have to trust me. Fire everything you have at that position. The princess suddenly grabbed Sarah's arm. Her face was full of fear. Sarah, something is wrong. The attack schedule is changing. They're moving the strike up. Sarah looked at the display. The red dots were shifting, moving closer to Earth. Why are they changing the plan? Someone must have detected our data transmission. My brother knows there's a security breach. Alarms started blaring throughout the ship. The lights switched to an angry red color. A voice spoke in the Zephyrian language over the ship's communication system. What's happening? Sarah asked. Security alert? They're searching for the source of the data leak. The princess's hands shook as she worked at the controls. Sarah, we need to leave this ship right now. Can we get to the hangar bay? Not without being seen. But there's an escape pod bay 2 levels down. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. The guards were coming back, and this time they sounded like an army. Sarah grabbed her gear. Lead the way. They moved to a service hatch in the floor. Princess Vexalia opened it with her access codes. A narrow tunnel led down into the ship's lower levels. This maintenance shaft connects to the pod bay, the princess said. But Sarah, once we leave this ship, I can never return.
Ow.
I will be marked as a traitor forever. Are you sure about this? The princess looked at the tactical display one more time. The Zephyrian fleet was moving into attack position ahead of schedule. My brother is about to murder billions of innocent people. Yes, I am sure. They dropped into the tunnel just as the guards broke down the door to the princess's chamber. Shouts of anger and confusion echoed from above. The maintenance tunnel was barely wide enough for one person. Sarah crawled forward with the princess right behind her. The metal was cold and sharp against their hands and knees. How much further? Sarah asked. Just ahead. There should be another hatch. Sarah found the hatch and pushed it open. Emerged into a small chamber filled with egg-shaped pods. Which pod was designed to carry one person to safety if the ship was destroyed. Do you know how to fly one of these? Sarah asked. Yes, but there's a problem.
Ow.
These pods are only meant for Zephyrians. The life support might not work for humans.
Oh.
Examined one of the pods. The controls were covered in alien symbols she couldn't read. We'll figure it out. Right now, we need to get off this ship and warn Earth about the early attack. Princess Vexalia programmed 2 pods while Sarah tried to contact Admiral Hayes. Again, Admiral, the attack is starting early. You have maybe 10 minutes. Chen, where are you? Escaping from the enemy flagship. The coordinates I sent you are still good, but you need to fire now. Roger that. All ships, weapons free. Target the coordinates Chen provided. Through the ship's hull, Sarah could hear the sound of weapons firing. The human fleet was finally fighting back against an enemy they couldn't see. Pods are ready, the princess said. But Sarah, where do we go? My people will hunt us, and your people might not trust me. There's a research station on Titan. It's neutral ground. We can regroup there and figure out our next move. They climbed into their escape pods. Sarah's pod felt strange and cramped, designed for a different species. Warning lights flashed as the pod detected her human biology. Will this thing keep me alive? She asked. I've programmed it for basic human requirements. It should work for a few hours. The pod bay doors opened, revealing the vast space battle. Taking place outside, human ships fired missiles and energy beams at seemingly empty space. Some shots connected with invisible targets, causing spectacular explosions as Zephyrian dreadnoughts were destroyed. It's working, Sarah said. They can hit what they can't see by using the coordinates. But the Zephyrian fleet was adapting quickly. They began moving in unpredictable patterns, making it harder for human weapons to find their targets. Launch, Princess Vexalia said. Their pods shot out into space. Behind them, the massive Zephyrian flagship fired its weapons at the human fleet. Bright beams of energy lanced across the darkness, destroying 2 human cruisers in seconds. Admiral Hayes, the flagship is still active, Sarah reported. Coordinates incoming. As their pods flew toward the research station on Titan, Sarah continued feeding targeting data to the human fleet. But she could see the battle was not going well. Zephyrians had too many ships and too much firepower. Princess, we need a better plan. My people are brave, but they're getting slaughtered. I know. But Sarah, I think I have an idea. On Titan Station, there are communication arrays that can reach every ship in both fleets. What are you thinking? What if we could make the entire Zephyrian fleet visible to everyone? Part 4. The Hunt the Escape pods crashed into Titan Station's docking bay with a loud bang. Sparks flew as Sarah's pod scraped across the metal floor before coming to a stop. She pushed open the hatch and stumbled out, gasping for air. Princess. Vexalia's pod had landed more smoothly. She climbed out and looked around the empty docking bay with worry. This place should have security guards, she said. Where is everyone? Sarah checked her weapon and scanned the area. The station felt wrong. Too quiet. Emergency lights flashed red along the walls, but there were no people anywhere. Maybe they evacuated when the battle started, Sarah said. They moved through the station's corridors carefully. Their footsteps echoed in the empty halls. Through the large windows, they could see the space battle still raging near Earth. Explosions lit up the darkness as ships died on both sides. There, Princess Vexalia pointed to a door marked with communication symbols. The main broadcast center. If we can access their systems, I can send a signal that will disrupt our invisibility technology. Sarah tried the door. It was locked. Can you open this? The princess placed her hand on a scanner beside the door. Nothing happened. It only recognizes human handprints, she said. Sarah pressed her palm to the scanner. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, they found a room, full of communication, equipment, and computer screens. Perfect, the princess said, moving to the main console. This is exactly what we need. She began working at the controls, her fingers moving quickly across the alien-looking interface. Sarah kept watch at the door. How long will this take? Sarah asked. 10 minutes to prepare the signal. But Sarah, once I send it, every Zephyrian ship will become visible to everyone. My people will know I am the one who betrayed them. Are you ready for that? The princess paused in her work. No, but it is the right thing to do. That's when Sarah heard it. A soft sound, like metal scraping against metal. She held up her hand. For silence and listened carefully. "What is it?" the princess whispered. "We're not alone." Sarah moved to the window and looked out into the corridor. At first, she saw nothing. Then her eyes caught a slight shimmer in the air, like heat waves, rising from hot pavement. "Princess, there are invisible soldiers in the hallway." Vexalia looked where Sarah was pointing. "I cannot see them. Trust me, they're there. At least 6 of them, moving this way." Sarah realized what was happening. The Zephyrian military had sent invisible hunters to find them. They could move through the station unseen by anyone except Sarah. "Keep working on that signal," Sarah said. "I'll handle the soldiers." "Sarah, these are elite warriors. They're trained to kill without being seen. Good thing I can see them." Sarah moved back from the door and took position behind a computer console. She watched the shimmer in the air get closer. The invisible soldiers were moving in perfect formation, checking each room as they advanced. The first soldier reached the communication center. Sarah could see his outline clearly, tall, wearing advanced armor that bent light around it. He carried a weapon that looked like it could cut through steel. Sarah waited until he was fully inside the room, then opened fire. Her bullet struck the invisible warrior center mass. He cried out in surprise and pain as his invisibility field flickered and failed. Suddenly, a 7-foot-tall alien soldier in silver armor appeared in the doorway. The other hunters heard their comrades shout. They rushed into the room, no longer trying to be stealthy. 5 more coming in. "There, ma'am," Sarah shouted to the princess. Sarah rolled behind another console as energy blasts filled the air where she had been standing. The invisible soldiers were firing at her, but they were confused. They couldn't understand how she had spotted their first teammate. "Sarah, I need 3 more minutes," Princess Vexalia called out. Sarah popped up and fired at another shimmer in the air. This time she missed, but the soldier dove for cover behind a computer bank. She could track his movement by watching for the slight distortion his invisibility field created. 2 more minutes, Princess said. One of the hunters tried to circle around Sarah's position. She saw him coming and grabbed a heavy piece of equipment from a nearby table. She threw it right at the invisible figure. The equipment struck him hard and he stumbled backward, his field flickering. Another soldier appeared directly in front of Sarah, his invisibility field failing as he prepared to strike with a glowing blade. Sarah dove to the side and shot him. At point-blank range, 1 minute. The remaining 3 hunters had figured out Sarah's trick. They were staying perfectly still, making it harder for her to spot the shimmer of their fields. Sarah looked around the room carefully. There was a slight distortion near the ceiling. One of them was climbing along the wall to attack from above. She fired upward. The invisible soldier lost his grip and crashed to the floor, his armor sparking as the invisibility field overloaded. 30 seconds. 2 hunters left. Sarah could hear them moving but couldn't see them. They had learned to move more carefully, avoiding the angles that would give away their position. A blade suddenly appeared inches from Sarah's face. She jerked backward and fired wildly. Invisible attacker grunted and stepped back. Done. Princess Vexalia shouted. Signal sent. She hit a large red button on the console. Throughout the room, every screen lit up with the same message in multiple languages. Zephyrian invisibility compromised. All ships now visible. The last 2 hunters must have received the same message on their equipment. Sarah heard them talking. In their alien language, they sounded confused and angry. Through the window, the space battle suddenly changed. The human fleet began firing with deadly accuracy as hundreds of Zephyrian ships became visible all at once. The tide of battle was turning, but their victory celebration was cut short. New alarms began blaring throughout the station. These weren't evacuation alarms. They were warnings of incoming ships. Sarah, look. Princess Vexalia pointed out the window. A massive Zephyrian dreadnought was approaching the station. It was bigger than any ship Sarah had seen, with hull markings that indicated high rank. That's my brother's personal flagship, the princess said with fear in her voice. Prince Kethfer is coming here himself. The ship opened fire on the station. The entire structure shook as energy beams struck the outer hull. Emergency power kicked in as the main systems failed. "He's going to destroy this whole station to kill us," Sarah said. Princess Vexalia moved to another console and activated a communication link. Her brother's face appeared on the screen, a tall alien with angry eyes and ceremonial armor. Sister Prince Kethver said in perfect English, "You have betrayed our entire civilization. Surrender now, and I will make your death quick." "I will not surrender," the princess replied. "What we were doing was wrong. You have doomed our people. Humans will hunt us now that they can see us. Then perhaps we deserve to be hunted." The prince's face darkened with rage. "I am coming aboard that station. Prepare to face justice." The communication cut off. Through the window, Sarah could see landing craft launching from the massive dreadnought. "How many soldiers?" Sarah asked. "Princess?" Vexalia checked the scanner readings. 50 warriors. All of them invisible. 8. Sarah smiled grimly and checked her remaining ammunition. "Good thing I'm the only human who can see invisible aliens." The hunt was about to begin again. Part 5. The Voidwalker's gambit. The station shook as Prince Kethver's landing craft docked with violent force. Sarah could hear metal tearing and atmosphere hissing as the Zephyrian soldiers cut their way inside. "They'll be here in minutes," Sarah said, checking her weapon. She was down to her last magazine. Princess Vexalia worked frantically at the communication console. "I'm sending our location to the human fleet. If we can hold out long enough, maybe they can send help." "Princess, the human fleet is still fighting for their lives out there. We're on our own." Through the station's internal cameras, Sarah watched. 50 invisible warriors spread throughout the corridors. To anyone else, the halls would look empty. But Sarah could see the shimmer of their movement, like ghosts made of bent light. "There's too many of them," she said. "We need a different plan." Princess Vexalia looked at the tactical display showing the space battle. "Sarah, I have an idea, but it's very dangerous. More dangerous than fighting 50 invisible aliens. With 6 bullets." The princess pointed to a control panel marked with warning symbols. "This station has a quantum communication array. It can send messages instantly across the galaxy. If I can access the Zephyrian fleet's central computer, I might be able to shut down all their invisibility systems permanently." "What's the catch?" "The system requires a massive power surge. It would drain the station's main reactor. We'd lose life support, gravity, everything." Sarah could hear the invisible soldiers getting closer. Their footsteps echoed through the metal corridors like a death march. "How long would we have? Maybe 10 minutes of air." After that, ... the princess made a cutting gesture across her throat. "You're sure this would work?" "The Voidwalker legend says that when the end comes, all veils will be lifted forever. Maybe this is what it means." The first invisible soldiers reached their corridor. Sarah could see them moving into position outside the communication center. "Do it," Sarah said. Princess Vexalia began typing commands into the quantum array. Warning lights flashed as she bypassed safety protocols and connected to the Zephyrian fleet network. The door to their room exploded inward. Invisible soldiers poured through the opening, but Sarah was ready. She had positioned herself where she could see the entire doorway. She opened fire, targeting the shimmers in the air. Her first shot hit an invisible warrior in the chest. Appeared suddenly as his systems failed, crashing to the ground in silver armor. "Got you," Sarah muttered. The other soldiers spread out, trying to surround her. But in the confined space of the communication center, there were only so many places they could hide. Sarah grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed it across the room. The white foam revealed the outlines of 3 invisible soldiers. She shot 2 of them before they could react. "Sarah, the connection is established." Princess Vexalia shouted, "But I need 30 more seconds." More soldiers rushed into the room. Sarah was out of ammunition, so she grabbed a metal chair and swung it at a shimmer near the computer banks. The invisible warrior stumbled backward. Surprised by the attack, a blade appeared out of nowhere, slicing toward Sarah's head. She ducked and kicked at where she thought the soldier's legs would be. Boot connected, and another warrior became visible as he fell. 20 seconds. Sarah picked up the fallen soldier's weapon, a strange gun that fired bolts of energy. She had no idea how to use it, but she pointed it at the remaining shimmers and pulled. What looked like a trigger, blue energy filled the room. Several invisible soldiers cried out as the blasts found their targets. 10 seconds. That's when Prince Kethfer himself entered the room. Unlike his soldiers, he wasn't invisible. He wore ornate armor covered in glowing symbols and carried a sword that crackled with electricity. "Enough," he roared. "Sister, step away from that console." "I will not." Princess Vexalia kept typing, her fingers flying across the controls. The prince raised his sword and pointed it at Sarah. "Human, you have corrupted my sister with your primitive ideas. Now you will pay." He charged across the room with inhuman speed. Sarah barely managed to roll aside as the electric sword struck the floor where she had been standing. In 5 seconds, the princess called out. Prince Kethfer spun toward his sister, raising his weapon to strike her down. Sarah knew she couldn't reach him in time, but she didn't have to. "Hey, ugly," she shouted, throwing the alien gun at his head. The prince turned back towards Sarah, giving his sister the time she needed. Signal sent. Princess Vexalia hit the final command. Every screen in the station lit up with the same message. Zephyrian. Invisibility systems offline. Permanent shutdown initiated. Through the windows, Sarah could see the effect immediately. Every Zephyrian ship in the fleet became completely visible. More importantly, they stayed visible. The invisibility technology that had made them invincible for 3 centuries was gone forever. Prince Kethfer stared at the screens in horror. "What have you done?" "I've given both our peoples a chance to fight fairly," his sister replied. The prince screamed in rage and raised his sword to kill Princess Vexalia. Sarah jumped between them, grabbing a piece of broken equipment to block the strike. The electric blade cut through the metal like paper. But it slowed the attack enough for Sarah to tackle the prince around the waist. It crashed into a bank of computers, sparks flying everywhere. Prince Kethfer was stronger than Sarah, but she had trained in hand-to-hand combat her entire military career. When he tried to grab his sword, she twisted his wrist until he dropped it. "You fight without honor," he snarled. "I fight to win," Sarah replied, punching him in the face. The prince stumbled backward, blood flowing from his nose. He had never been in a real fight before. Zephyrian royalty has always relied on their invisibility and superior weapons. Sarah picked up his electric sword. It was heavier than it looked, but she could manage it. "Surrender," she said. "The war is over. Your fleet can't hide anymore." Prince Kethfer looked out the window at his no-visible ships. The human fleet was systematically destroying them one by one. His empire's greatest advantage was gone forever. "You have doomed us all," he whispered. "No," Princess Vexalia said, standing beside Sarah. "We have freed us all. Now both humans and Zephyrians must find new ways to live." Admiral Hayes's voice crackled over Sarah's radio. "Chen, are you receiving? The enemy fleet is surrendering. Whatever you did over there, it worked." Sarah looked at Princess Vexalia and smiled. "Admiral, I'd like you to meet our new ambassador to the Zephyrian Empire. Princess Vexalia has a lot to teach us about building peace." Prince Kethfer sat on the floor, defeated. His sister knelt beside him. "Brother, the age of hiding in shadows is over. Now we must learn to live in the light." Outside, human and Zephyrian ships stopped firing at each other. For the first time in 3 centuries, both species could see each other clearly. The Voidwalker had fulfilled the prophecy. All veils had been lifted forever.